Scott Hurst is standing by with more on the upheaval. So, Scott, before we get to the actual protests, let's take a step back and talk about what is fueling all of this violence, all because of a ban on social media.
Good morning, Marcia. Yeah, significant images coming out of Nepal, as you're seeing right there. And we're also seeing some significant developments. As you mentioned, the Prime Minister has resigned after days of the protests. But let's get to the source of all this violence. You've pointed out the social media ban, which has since been rolled back, but this is really being called the Gen Z protests, and that the clashes over the social media ban really seen as a tipping point over long-standing sentiment against politicians and lavish perks for their families and concerns over corruptions. The demonstrations erupting about 1 week after officials moved to ban social media platforms from not registering with the government, but really much more simmering discontent, particularly with young people, with around a fifth of young people currently unemployed in the nation of some 30 million people, as then they see the political elite and their children enjoying these luxurious lifestyles and numerous advantages. So really it was a short-lived ban on the social media platforms, as I mentioned, has since been rolled back, but it's unclear if this is enough to quell the violence, as many are also calling for the government to be dissolved. As you might expect, a move like that, Marcia, could lead to much more instability. So this, of course, is the frustration over this ban that was brought in on social media platforms, but really much more discontent, particularly among young people in the nation, for not having enough opportunity, and really a lot of concern from young people in particular over what they're seeing as continued corruption within the ranks of the government, Marcia.
So, in terms of the protests, which, as we point out, have turned deadly, what's the latest? What's being done to bring things under control?
Well, the police, as we've seen in the video, have been using a heavy hand to really bring the violence under control, which ultimately has sparked even more violence across the Himalayan capital city of Kathmandu. The country's main airport in Kathmandu closed amid security concerns. As you mentioned, on Monday, 19 people, at least 19 people killed in the clashes, and reportedly several more people already killed today. So as you see in the video, violence in the streets, smoke rising from many parts of the capital city. Hundreds also allegedly hurt, according to local estimates, as police had been firing off tear gas, taking a heavy hand to disrupt the protests and disperse the crowds, as the protesters have been seen trying to push through barricades and police lines. And so, as I mentioned, with the rollback of the social media ban, it's unclear if this will be enough to quell the violence. But what we've seen in terms of a crackdown on the protests, we've seen a significant heavy hand from police trying to, at the very least, get the protests under control. So, Marcia, will have to continue to follow and see if the changes that the government has made, the resignation of the Prime Minister and the rolling back, is enough in the meantime to quell the protests, as I mentioned, amid all the other simmering discontent, particularly among young people in the Himalayan nation.
All right, Scott, thanks for that.